Good morning, everyone. It's May 12th, 2019. Happy Mother's Day to any mother who may listen. This is going to be kind of an off the beaten path type video, as I've not looked at any of the news yet. But I do have something good to discuss with you. So, most of you know I have gained employment again, and one of the people I work with, actually a couple, one of them is a transitioning male to female tranny, and his wife. Seriously. It's very, very strange to me. This individual has hair like mine, right? And is fairly manly, right? But he has boobs. And I'm not judging him because, I kind of know his story. And he's not one of them, say my proper pronoun or else types either. So, I'm going to talk about this individual because he is a mess, and I want to go a direction here to show what trauma can do to people. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because of a comment I got on one of my videos yesterday. It was a very long, nasty, well, I wouldn't say nasty necessarily, a real statist, okay? So, this guy, who is transitioning to be a female, he's a mess. I mean, he has emotional outbursts and shit like that, right? And it's all due to the hormones that he's taking. And then this person used to be at the top of their game in their trade. Now, this person can barely function as a result of the hormones and other things that he's taking. But what's his story? Why did he end up that way? Well, this specific individual, his mother was a prostitute. And there's a sort of brothel here, right? It was. I don't know if there is anymore. I don't go looking for these things. It's very possible that there's still one here. There's very possible one still exists that does the very same things I'm about to talk about. So his mom's a whore, a prostitute. And when he got old enough to, and I'm not going to go into full disgusting detail, okay? I'm not going to do that because it's disgusting, and we don't need to be that graphic. But his mother forced him to do sexual acts on men. And there's no shortage of these kind of people out there. These men who exploit children, women who exploit children. We see it all the time. So, after years of this happening to him, it fucked him up. I mean, it was one case of trauma after another. This person hates himself so much that he wants to be a completely different person. You can't do that, right? Your soul is your soul. You are you. But some people think they can escape being themselves. And this is where the other video comes in. Now, I don't judge that guy. I know the things that happened to him are terrible. I try to avoid him, okay? I try not to talk to them. But it's a very unusual setup. And unfortunately for them, this couple, I am there to take their place. So I work for a real estate company who does rental properties and shit like that. And I do the remodeling, everything. Okay. So these people, they keep on having outbursts because this guy is going through hormone therapy to be a woman. He hates himself and his past so much that he is trying to turn himself into a completely different person. Now, this commenter obviously didn't listen to what I said in the video, because I explained why addiction happens. And it happens as a result of trauma. And the more trauma you experience, the more likely you are to become addicted to some substance or another, or multiple. For me, it was marijuana. I would never say I was ever addicted to LSD. I didn't take it enough. I got addicted to painkillers. And I took it overboard. And now I don't so much. I'm very moderate in everything I do anymore. I don't smoke too much weed. I don't pop too many things. I don't drink too much coffee. Everything I do now is in moderation. But the trauma of being molested, of being bullied, of being rejected, of being shit on by the system, I mean, it all builds up inside of a person, and eventually they either want to off themselves or they want to escape. So the reason why addiction happens, the reason why people end up hooked on heroin or cocaine, is because it helps them numb what's happened to them. You got to remember, psychological therapy is not available to a large portion of the population. So there's no one there for them to work through what occurred in their life. I feel bad for the guy. I do. I mean, it's a very awkward kind of deal where people aren't sure what to call him. And while he's not real pushy about being called her, he does let people know, I'm a her. I'm a she. Okay? And they don't know how to react because this is a big, not muscle bound, but a bigger guy, and with a shaved head, who, for all intents and purposes, acts like a woman. So this person had been so badly abused, neglected, and sexually abused that they cannot stand to be in their own skin anymore. And for this person, their escape was transitioning to be a different person. And in doing so, has lost almost everything. So this commenter, he was very, very judgmental, very capital letter writing, person. And I'm going to try to find the comment here so I can hit each point he had. Yeah, right there. Alright. Oh, I can't enlarge it. Ain't that a bitch. See, this is where I understand that he didn't even bother, or she didn't even bother to listen to the video. The question's not whether it's up to the state to prohibit people from using these substances. The question is, why do people feel the need to use any substances which only over the long term have had an incredible negative effect on the mind and body of the individual taking them? Okay. Now, I've taken painkillers for more than 20 years. I've had peaks and valleys. I'm at the point where I barely take them anymore. But at one time I did take a lot of them. And I'm still alive. I'm still healthy. You can't do LSD and mushrooms and that kind of drug constantly. It doesn't work that way. Okay? You build a tolerance for it, and then it doesn't work anymore. So the one thing you have to understand when you do these things is you have to manage your tolerance. If you're constantly fucked up, if you're constantly smoking weed, if you're constantly snorting coke, if you're constantly popping pills, that shit will stop working. And the way you manage your tolerance is simple. You don't take it. You don't take it for a while. I went a good 2 months without taking any kind of pain relief. And when I did the next time, I only needed about a third of what I was taking in the first place. So, and it's a good way to not spend all your money on the shit too. I have mixed feelings about drugs because on one hand, they do have the potential to destroy a person. But how? How do they destroy that individual? A lot of people, I know a lot of people who use drugs of all sorts. And most of the people I know, they get up every day. They go bust their ass at a job, and they come home. They do their job right. They treat their family and children with reverence. But then you have the other kind, right? The people who are complete fucking scum about it. And they make the rest of the people who go do their jobs, who just want to have a way to relax at the end of the day. And who am I to tell a person their way of winding down is wrong? But the cause of addiction is trauma. The more trauma you have, the more likely you are to smoke cigarettes, the more likely you are to smoke pot, the more likely you are to do other drugs like heroin and cocaine. Trauma is the key. You don't want your kids to end up on drugs. You must minimize the trauma in their childhood. If you don't, they will continue the cycle that I'm talking about. And you don't want that. Minimizing the trauma to your children, for your children, will go a long way in making them a good, whole person. Keeping them away from bad people who would touch them, who would mentally abuse them, who would physically abuse them, that will be the thing that determines to a large degree how successful they are, what their IQ is, and whether or not they take up habits like smoking or whatever. So if you're a parent, minimizing their trauma is the best way to keep them off of things like pills. And if you do that, you're going to be a lot more successful at parenting than people who allow this trauma into their life. Bullying is traumatic. It makes a person very cynical. If they're being bullied at school, you got to address that right away. Pull them out of the school, homeschool them. I made the sacrifice for my daughter because I didn't want her to go through the same things I did. So if we can do it, everybody else can do it. I have a full-time job. We're still managing to get her assignments done. We're still managing the homeschool thing. So if I can do it, anybody else can. Keeping trauma out of your child's life is by far the most important thing you can do. Anyway, I thought I'd share this with you because what this dude said really, their judgmental, snobby attitude is no way to be. It's not. Yes, we must judge people to keep bad people away, but we don't judge. We only judge whether we want to be around those people. We don't judge what they're doing. We're not judging, their lifestyle or them as a whole individual. We're simply saying, do I want this kind of drama, problem in my life? That's as far as my judgment goes. For the most part. I mean, I'm not perfect. I do judge people, don't get me wrong. Like pedophiles, they should be judged. But trauma's a motherfucker. It is. And it's even worse when it happens to you as a child. Anyway, I thought I'd have this chat with you all. I hope you have a great Sunday.